SMT Nation, we are back. Nation, in today's video, we're going to take a look at a story that kind of covers part of what we discussed last week with T-Mobile, kind of re-guiding how many home broadband subscribers they were going to look to add. They currently stood at about 7 million of those subscribers over the first, we'll call it the first phase of their T-Mobile home internet. And now they've kind of gone into fiber, and now they've re-guided, telling us they were going to add more of these fixed wireless broadband subscribers. Now, the reason why this is a concern is because this is a shared resource. We're talking about splitting or multi-purposing their mobile network. So you've got mobile users, you've got home internet users, and, they continue to drive home the point of excess capacity is what we're selling. And, at some point, the concerns are valid, whether or not you're going to have excess capacity. Let's talk more detail in this video. A link for the article from Telecompetitor, I'll provide that in the description. Ways to support us can be found there as well. Please do like and share this video. Subscribe if you're new here, and turn on the bell notification icon to never miss an upload from the SMT. All right, so here's the guidance right here, the re-guide. All right, so the goal is to get to what they're saying is about 12 million subscribers from the current, we'll call it 7 million, over the course of the next, I think they said by 2028. So you're basically going from 7 million subscribers in 4 years to 12 million subscribers in the next 4 years. That does mean that the pace would be slowing slightly, but it is still a pretty fast pace. So like when I think about that number, they're probably shooting for somewhere around 300,000 net adds per quarter. On average. And I think, in some quarters they might be 350, and in some quarters they might be 280 or 290. And I've, commented, with respect to my analysis on that, is they may have to become promotionally active in order to hit some of those numbers to kind of stay on that track. They've got investments into fiber, and that obviously could kind of change the dynamic. But guys, that's a hell of a lot of usage. And the reason why I wanted to bring up this point is they've got this excess capacity model where it's like, all right, we got extra speed on the network that we can monetize and sell. And it's wise to do that. You're just trying to optimize your revenues, and increase how many customers you can have on the network. What has to be considered, and this is something that T-Mobile is going to continue to analyze, is the usage patterns of their existing consumer base. You're adding new customers, and they're going to be using the network, but you have your old customers, the ones that have been with you, that are also using it, but your base will continue to increase their usage per customer. So the increased rate of data demand, it's got to be included into this calculus. So some of the more recent surveys from the CTIA indicate that we saw a 36% increase in data usage going from 2022 to 2023. And if that's any indication of the future, whatever T-Mobile's average user is consuming for data, whether it's 500 gigs, if it's 550, if it moves to 600, if it moves to 700, whatever, it's really about the time of the day. If they've got that worked out, then that kind of, brings down the worries about, mobile users being impacted by this. But the bigger concern is that I'm signing up more and more customers for the service, moving from 7 to 12 million by 2028. And they're talking about an additional, and it's here. It says 12 million by 2030. Do we even know that the T-Mobile network can handle 15 million, home broadband subscribers who will continue to increase their usage over time? And I don't want to say this is worst case scenario, but if things get tough, I think T-Mobile is going to modify the terms of the service. They're going to be looking to trade the high user customer for the low user customer. And that might be limiting how much growth they could have. And that might just be their plan and their model. They might be just doing it out of necessity, the network preservation model. So I think that could happen. I think they might start modifying the home internet terms. They've already gone from kind of like free unlimited, you guys just use whatever, subject to deprioritization during times of congestion and slowdowns and stuff like that. Now it's like if you use more than a terabyte, they're going to slow you down, and they might take that next level. They might be looking at a model where it's like if you use more than 500 gigs, you might be potentially slowed down. Or, and this would be my biggest fear, is they have to completely change what they're selling and say something like, well, due to network preservation, if you use more than 500 gigs, if you want to remain high speed, we're going to have to sell you a $10 upcharge. I mean, what? You guys don't think that could happen? Are we serious? I mean, we're talking about telcos here. This is the same playbook that we've seen mobile networks use that the cable industry was using, right? Use more than a terabyte. You had to pay for the unlimited plan. I know Cox Communications did it. I do believe Comcast or Spectrum deployed it as well. You had to pay an additional $50 fee to go like truly unlimited. Why the hell wouldn't a mobile network operator do that? And I'm not taking shots at T-Mobile if they would decide to do it. I'm just being realistic. Their model is excess capacity, and if there is no excess capacity, they would resort to these things for network preservation, to trade the power user, as they would describe it, to a low data consumption user. They would trade a person using 1.5 teras for 3 people that use 500 gigs. Think about it. That's a 3x multiplier. Like 3 customers at $50 a piece for $150. 1 user at $50 who's a power user. They would love to lose the 150 power, the 1.5 terabyte power user to trade for 3 lighter users. That's just easy money, and that just makes sense. So, I don't want to say this is a precise prediction like I'm calling it, but I think they could resort to things like this based on their continued, model or plan, saying, we want to sell excess capacity. We don't want to build capacity specifically for home internet. So I think they will continue to kind of modify and evolve the service with respect to the data network management. You may see them kind of change and tweak the way that they allow people on the network and how much data they can use and how it could potentially impact their experience after a certain threshold. I think that's in play, and I think that's how they're going to do it. And I've also said they'll remain promotionally active, but they might make it unbearably bad for some power users. They'll be like, I can't really use T-Mobile because of blah, blah, blah. And T-Mobile might just be okay with that. And it's not that they're trying to turn away business, but they're going to turn away the power user. I mean, we have no indication that they're going to deploy C-band and DoD spectrum assets put to air. We haven't seen, and we know they have to do millimeter wave at some point, but we haven't heard anything about gateways. We haven't heard anything about CPEs and external antennas and nothing. And they may just be playing coy. They may have those things in the works. We just don't know. So there's a lot that's going to probably be happening with respect to 5G home internet in the next year. By 2025, I think more of this will play out. We'll understand and have more, clarity on this. But I think those are all possible situations. I think the power user getting swapped for the light user, and I think the network management becoming more aggressive, and terms to the agreements may cause people to kind of move away. I don't know. If you're a T-Mobile home internet customer, tell me about your usage patterns. If T-Mobile switched to a lighter user kind of philosophy, would that cause you to leave, look for other options? I think those are all factors to consider. What are your takes and opinions on it? Welcome down below. You're the voice of the people, the SMT Nation. Let your voice be heard.